become a tag team champion in WWE is recognition that the tandem you belong to is the very best in the ring. Or that you sell the most merch. Either way, today we are looking at teams that have only had one reign with any set of tag team titles across their WWE careers. For example, if a team had one reign with the World Tag Team Championships, but also had a different reign with the WWE Tag Team Championships, they would be disqualified. Sorry, Kane and Big Show, but rules are rules. I'm Adam Pachisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best one-time WWE Tag Team Champions. Join us. Number 10, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Dude Love. You would be hard-pressed to find two more opposing characters than 1997 Steve Austin and Mick Foley's hippie alter ego, Dude Love. One was a tough-as-nails redneck who took no nonsense and dished out all kinds of whoop-ass. The other was a fun-loving throwback with the knobbliest knees this side of a Butlins holiday park. However, if you know anything about wrestling, then you will know that odd couples often make fantastic tag teams. Austin had been tag champs with Shawn Michaels before HBK got himself suspended. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog won a tournament to face Austin and his new partner, who was nobody. Ever the loner, Austin decided to go it alone. However, during the match, he got some unexpected help from the man in tie-dye. Dude Love ran down to save the Texas Rattlesnake from his enemies. One stunner later, and Austin and Love were the new tag champs. These two misfits were fantastically entertaining together, even if their reign was cut short by Stone Cold's injury at SummerSlam. Just imagine how much more fun this pairing could have had fate not intervened just a few months into their tandem. Number 9, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. A tag team is a great way for an underrated singles wrestler to get some attention. Just ask Cesaro. Our man Claudio has enjoyed success alongside Shinsuke Nakamura and as part of the Bar with Sheamus, but it is all too brief run with Tyson Kidd that we are interested in here. The Swiss Superman and Natalia's husband started teaming in late 2014, picking up steam thanks to their incredible in-ring chemistry. It didn't take them too long to become champions as they beat the Usos for the belts at Fastlane 2015. At WrestleMania 31, Kidd and Cesaro defended their championships in a four-way match against the former champs, the New Day, and Los Matadores that definitely deserved more than its pre-show placement. New Day would then end their reign at just 63 days, but this super athletic team accomplished a very lot in that short space of time. It felt like they breathed new life into the tag scene, bringing a serious focus to the division that hadn't been seen in a while. It's a serious shame that Kidd's forced retirement later that year would bring an end to such a promising partnership. Number 8, Rated RKO. You know the name incredibly well, but did you know that Rated RKO's original run only lasted 7 months? In 2006, Edge and Randy Orton were a natural combination. Both were despicable heels, both hated DX, and both were very good at making funny faces when setting up for their finishers. They beat the somewhat random team of Ric Flair and Roddy Piper to win the tag straps in November. They would then feud with Triple H and Shawn Michaels for the next several months, including losing to their team in a clean sweep at Survivor Series. Let's not dwell on that for too long, it was a bad time for all involved. Especially you, Mike Knox. Rated RKO would play a huge part in the build for WrestleMania 23 as they entered the crosshairs of Michaels and his opponent for that show, WWE Champion John Cena. It was this duo that unseated Edge and Orton as champions in the run-up to Mania, ending their reign at 77 days. They may not have reigned for very long, but this team was super popular as champions and had a far-reaching effect on the wider WWE ecosystem. There is a reason that everyone still remembers them. Number 7, Soul Patrol. WWE loves to trot out groundbreaking milestones to the point where we're all pretty bloody sick of them. One moment that is worth retreading though is the time that Tony Atlas and Rocky Just Wait Until You See My Son Johnson defeated the Wild Samoans in 1983. At Gallows and Johnson overcame interference from Captain Lou Albano to beat Afa and Sika and make history in the process. This victory not only made them the first African American team to become World Tag Team Champions, but it also made them the first black men to hold any sort of gold in the Federation. If that wasn't enough, Soul Patrol reigned with the belts for a respectable 154 days before dropping them to Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch. This team became champions because they were insanely popular wrestlers with great looks and tons of charisma, and they set a great example for aspiring black wrestlers worldwide. Number 6, Kane and Rob Vanam. As far as unlikely duos go, they don't get much more unlikely than Rob Vanam and Kane. One was a pyromaniac hell-bent on inflicting pain and suffering, while the only thing the other one was likely to light up was a big fat doobie. Forming in early 2003, RVD and the Big Red Machine attempted to bag the belts on multiple occasions, including on the WrestleMania 19 pre-show, until they finally won them on the March 31st edition of Monday Night Raw. Their two styles contrasted well, and they had solid defenses against teams like the Dudley Boys, Lance Storm and Chief Morley, Chris Jericho and Christian, and La Resistance. It was against the French Canadians that their 76-day run with the gold came to an end due to a spot of miscommunication. That made 19-year-old Rene Dupree the youngest champion in WWE history until, they gave the title to an actual child. Unsuccessful in their rematch, Kane and Van Dam split up when Kane was unmasked and turned into, even more of a psycho. Number 5, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. These days, Roman is considered pretty much the ultimate singles wrestler in WWE, having been champion for, 5,487 days or something? That said, he had to share his first taste of WWE gold. Back when he was in The Shield, Reigns and his brother-in-black Seth Rollins won the WWE Tag Team Championships at Extreme Rules 2013. Dean Ambrose had picked up the US title earlier in the night, meaning that the faction were nicely decorated indeed. For the next 148 days, Reigns and Rollins defended the belts against the likes of Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, the Usos, and the Primetime Players. The Shield lost their tag straps in dramatic fashion when they were beaten by Cody Rhodes and Goldust as part of an emotional storyline with the Rhodes brothers' jobs on the line. Unfortunately, this was only like the 5th televised time that they had actually defended the belts. And that was a common theme with the Shield during this time. Still, the visual of the group with all the belts and that Rhodes match more than makes up for the lack of TV time. Number 4, the Valiant Brothers. History buffs out there will be wondering which combination of the Valiant Brothers we are talking about here. To that I say, have you thought about going outside recently? You look like you could use some sun. Just kidding, the combination of the Valiants we are on about here is Jimmy and Johnny, who reigned as World Tag Team Champions between 1974 and 1975. Sorry Jerry, you just didn't make the cut. Though they weren't actually related, Jimmy and Johnny had great chemistry together as dominant heels. They got signed in 1974 by Vince McMahon Sr. and won the company's tag belt shortly thereafter. Their reign lasted for 370 days before they were eventually dethroned by Dominic DeNucci and Victor Rivera. This made them the Fed's first team to be champs for over a year, a record that would stand for 14 years until Demolition came along. Those pesky face-painted freaks. Even though they're not household names today, the Valiants were crucial to the success of tag team wrestling in the company's earlier days. They set records and established trends before many of the most popular tag team wrestlers of all time were even born, and we think that deserves a mention. Number 3, the British Bulldogs. Remember WrestleMania 2? If you said yes to that question, then I'm so sorry. There'll be a link to a support group in the comments. One of the few high points of that generally maligned show was the main event match of the Rosemont Horizon portion of the event. The Dream Team, that's Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake by the way, were defending their World Tag Team Championships against an extremely popular tandem. And we're not just saying that because they're from the same country as us. Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid, better known as the British Bulldogs, were one of the most over babyface teams in the company at the time. Not only were they given the closing match at a portion of WrestleMania, but they were accompanied to the ring by none other than Ozzy Osbourne. Let's just be glad Matilda was a dog and not a bat, eh? The Bulldogs beat the Dream Team to begin a 294-day run with the belts. They propped the tag division up with great matches before finally dropping the titles to fellow Stampede Wrestling alumni, the Hart Foundation. Perhaps they would have been champions again had Dynamite's injuries and backstage issues not led to his WWE exit. Number 2, Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. It's a Bulldog double whammy! We are not biased, we promise, and the fact I'm wearing Union Jack underpants is a complete coincidence. After serving together as members of Camp Cornette, brothers-in-law Owen Hart and the British Bulldog set their sights on the World Tag Team Championships at In Your House 10. The pair were successful in unseating the Smoking Guns and would then reign for a whopping 246 days with the titles. They did have a few dud defenses in their time. Their bout against Fake Razor and Fake Diesel from In Your House 12 comes to mind, but on the whole, these two talented workers were usually able to deliver between the ropes. What makes this reign so memorable are the times that the pair were at odds with each other. Bulldog defeated Owen to become the first ever European champion whilst they were still tag champs, leading to the Rockets' legendary line of, "You may have 2 titles, but I have 2 Slammies." Their reign also coincided with the reformation of the Hart Foundation in 1997. I think that was a pretty big year for them, can't really remember. Number 1, Team Hell No. The enemies becoming friends trope in wrestling is one that, when done right, can be excellent. In recent years, there has been no better example of this storyline than when Daniel Bryan shacked up with Kane to form Team Hell No. Bryan and Kane were at each other's throats throughout 2012 until some anger management classes, led by the hero that is Dr. Shelby, come on, helped smooth things out. Okay, well, not really, they still hated each other, but they were just a team now. Despite bickering like a pair of old biddies, Team Hell No won the WWE Tag Team titles from R-Truth and Kofi Kingston at Night of Champions. After initially resenting being forced to reign together, over time the pair gained each other's trust and started to work together as a solid unit. This led to matches against Team Rhodes Scholars, 3MB, and a WrestleMania title defense against Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston. Their reign came to an end as part of their lengthy feud with The Shield, ending D. Bry and the Big Red Machine's time with the belts at 245 days. For their comedic brilliance, excellent matches, and their engaging relationship progression, Team Hell No gets a giant yes from us.